Hello again, my name's Gabe Zolna. This is the executive order that was signed by Barack Hussein Obama on July the 1st, 2016. United States policy on pre- and post-strike measures to address civilian casualties in U.S. operations involving the use of force. By the authority vested in me as President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, I hereby direct as follows. Section 1, Purpose, United States policy on civilian casualties resulting from U.S. operations involving the use of force in armed conflict or in the exercise of the nation's inherent rights of self-defense is based on our national interests, our values, and our legal obligations. As a nation, we are steadfastly committed to complying with our obligations under the law of armed conflict, including those that address the protection of civilians, such as the fundamental principles of necessity, humanity, distinction, and proper nationality. The protection of civilians is fundamentally consistent with the effective, efficient, and divisive use of force in pursuit of U.S. national interests. Minimizing civilian casualties can further mission objectives, help maintain the support of partner governments, and vulnerable populations, especially in the conduct of counterterrorism and counterinsurgency operations, and enhance the legitimacy and sustainability of U.S. operations critical to our national security. As a matter of policy, the United States therefore routinely imposes certain heightened policy standards that are more protective than the requirements of the law of armed conflict that relate to the protection of civilians. Civilian casualties are a tragic and at times unavoidable consequence of the use of force in situations of armed conflict or in the exercise of the state's inherent right of self-defense. The U.S. government shall maintain and promote best practices that reduce the likelihood of civilian casualties, take appropriate steps when such casualties occur, and draw lessons from our operations to further enhance the protection of civilians. Section 2. Policy is further hence of U.S. government efforts to protect civilians in U.S. operations involving the use of force in armed conflict or in the exercise of the nation's inherent rights of self-defense. And with a view toward enhancing such efforts, relevant departments and agencies shall continue to take certain measures to present and future operations. A. In particular, relevant agencies shall, consistent with mission objectives and applicable law, including the law of armed conflict, train personnel countermeasure with their responsibilities on compliance with legal obligations and policy guidance that address the protection of civilian and implementation of best practices that reduce the likelihood of civilian casualties, including through exercises, pre-deployment training, and simulations of complex operational environments that include civilians. Develop, acquire the field intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance systems that, by enabling more accurate battle space awareness, contribute to the protection of civilians. Develop, acquire, and field weapon systems and other technology capabilities that further enable the discriminate use of force in different operational contexts. Take feasible precautions in conducting attacks to reduce the likelihood of civilian casualties, such as providing warnings to the civilian population, unless the circumstances do not permit. Adjusting the timing of attacks, taking steps to ensure military objectives and civilians are clearly distinguished, and take other measures appropriate to the circumstances, and conduct assessments that assist in the reduction of civilian casualties by identifying risks to civilians and evaluating efforts to reduce risk to civilians. In addition to the responsibilities above, relevant agencies shall also, as appropriate and consistent with mission objectives and applicable law, including the law of armed conflict, review or investigate incidences involving civilian casualties, including by considering relevant and credible information from all available sources, such as other agencies, partner governments, and non-governmental organizations, and take measures to mitigate the likelihood of future incidences of civilian casualties. Acknowledge U.S. government responsibility for civilian casualties and offer condolences, including ex gratia payments to civilians who are injured or the families of civilians who are killed. engage with foreign partners to share and learn best practices for reducing the likelihood of and responding to civilian casualties, including through appropriate training and assistance. Maintain channels for engagement with the International Committee of the Red Cross and other non-governmental organizations that operate in conflict zones, and encourage such organizations to assist in efforts to distinguish between military objectives and civilians, including by appropriately making and marking protected facilities, vehicles, and personnel, and by providing updated information on the locations of such facilities and personnel. Report on strikes undertaken by the U.S. government against terrorist targets outside areas of active hostilities. This is all in the United States, folks. The Director of National Intelligence or such other official as the President may designate shall obtain from relevant agencies information about the number of strikes undertaken by the U.S. government against terrorist targets outside areas of active hostilities from January 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016, as well as assessment by combatant and non-combatant deaths resulting from those strikes, and publicly release an unclassified summary of such information no later than May the 1st, 2017 by May 1st of each subsequent year, as consistent with the need to protect sources and methods. The DNI shall publicly release a report with the same information for the preceding calendar year. The annual report shall also include information obtained from relevant agencies regarding the general source of information and methodology used to conduct these assessments, as feasible and appropriate, shall address the general reasons for disciplines between post-strike assessments from the U.S. government and credible reporting from non-government organizations regarding non-combatant deaths resulting from strikes undertaken by the U.S. government against terrorist targets outside areas of active hostilities. Folks, are you sort of getting the clue? I'll attach the rest of the article. This is the beginning of the end of America. You think not? Good luck to you. Good luck to all of us. We're going to need it.